In the next 15 minutes, we're going to talk about case uses in fundraising. So there's a lot of things it can do, particularly around writing for fundraising, a lot of communications abilities. So like I wanted to use an example, trying to look through Europe. Akita, I'm gonna take Europe. I hope that's okay, and just use it as an example. So I'm gonna write a case statement for Europe. Thank you, Akita, and see what it comes back. Let's say we're doing a campaign. Can you write a 5,000 word case statement for Europe? The document should include or should have one part on what Europe is and what we do. Another part should explain our pragmatic pillars and impact on our community. The third part should introduce our campaign pillars, which are endowment, new building, updated infrastructure. Let's keep it at that, keep it simple. The next section should talk about how to or why someone should give to this campaign, and the last section should talk about how to give to this campaign, include naming rights. Let's see if I'm missing anything. That's generally, for the sake of argument, that should be. Oh, that's something to do. Tax limitation or not cannot provide. So, however, I'm more than happy to find out detail of the case in mentioned for Europe. I've actually done this before, so I'm going to stop generating. I'm going to try one thing. Hold on. So let's go to new chat GPT 3. There you go. Okay, actually, I think I did the 25 prompts per hour. That's why it stopped me. So that's the limitation with Chat GPT 4. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Wow, it's going too fast. Introduction. Europe naturally empowers young adults. Akita, is that right? Give me a thumbs up if it is. Let's see if it actually pulled the right information. Yeah. All right. So here's about what they do. And again, I don't know if this is right, Akita. This also probably might have been made up. Campaign pillars, endowment, new building, blah, blah. Why? And I think I had some more, but maybe it just stopped. Oh, continue generating, yes. Continue, blah, 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 how to give this campaign. Okay. From here, this is a great, like, gets you 60% of the way. A lot of this information they've made up and pulled from different areas, things on the web. Like I presume at high level, this is about right. However, really when you get down to the nitty gritty of this, a lot of this is made up and you have to edit yourself. So you'll have to go in here, you'll have to actually put where your programmatic pillars are, what your impact is, what the revenue from each dollar goes to each of these pillars. There's a lot more to do. However, it's very helpful for point one start, right? And getting you just going. That's one. Another one would be like a donor appeal. I'd like to write a donor appeal message. Actually, let's go with a donor solicitation for, I'm sorry, my handwriting. I should have started at the beginning. My handwriting is horrible. What actually Chat GPT is great is it doesn't care. It doesn't care, sorry, with your spelling. It will auto do everything. And actually, I don't even spell check anything because it figures it out. This is a letter to a potential donor for our annual gala called our 30th anniversary celebration. The letter should come from our honoree, John Smith. The ask would be for the donor to give a 25K table. Please let the donor know that sponsorship benefits are attached. Our organization is Year Up. Please include in the letter a paragraph about what Year Up is and why it's important to support the organization. Length, one page letter formatted in a letter format. I don't know if that's even the right way to say it, but in a letter. Andrea, no, it does not come up with the same concern or the same content. It regenerates and it comes up with different. And also you have different options of what content to produce. You can choose option 1, option 2, option 3. And they're working on the concerns around plagiarism. That's very squarely in the legal courts right now and trying to figure out what this all means. This is why we always say, don't ever take this anything and copy and paste. You have to edit, you have to check sources, you have to do all of that stuff before doing, for sharing anything with any donor. This is why I like to say, like, this gets you halfway there and at least gives you a template, but never is your final product. So here's your letter. So this is a letter to a donor asking them to support your 30th anniversary, and just goes into a little bit detail about the event, who to contact, and blah, blah. I'm sure everyone has written one of these before on this call. I know I've written hundreds over my time. And this is just a great way to get a template going. Another one is like donor acceptance policies. I know these could be lengthy and tricky, but they do it quickly. Again, a donor acceptance policy has to go through legal, and do not accept anything that this writes as a legal document. But it can give you a good kind of starting point. Policy for Year Up talks about the various ways a donor can give. Example, they can. I'm gonna try to do this very quick. Stock, giving, gifts, cash, etc., etc. I'm just going to do it very quickly because I think you guys get the drill. But it will give you a list of different ways to give. You can also have it give your, like, we won't accept money from XYZ type of organizations, blah, blah. It can go through all those different examples. So in the last 5 minutes, I know that I'm going to have to toss it over to Katie to talk about beautiful AI. One big question we get a lot is about research. I don't know if you all do prospecting internally. A lot of folks do prospecting with us. It's not that great on prospecting. It only has information through 2021. Then also there's a good chance that most of the stuff it spits out is not accurate at all. So we have not found a solution for this at all, and probably won't. However, it can be helpful in at least giving some basic information. I like to do like a meeting prep doc. Like, that's not technically prospecting, but it's helpful for folks who do that. Like, build me a meeting prep doc on donor named John Smith. He gave 30K to the gala last year. Works at Orr Group. Please provide a bio, giving history, and meeting agenda. Sometimes it's not formatted that great. However, it can give you a good template that you can use for your meeting prep or whatever it may be. Notice how it talks a little bit about year up in here. Here, I don't think when you did your thumbs up, you realized that it would use year up so often, but it will continue to pull from previous conversations. So it will continue to include year up unless you tell it differently. Don't include year up. This is the organization that I'm working at. This is the information I want to put in. It will pull from previous conversations and bring everything together. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. The other piece that the last thing about research and prospecting, I actually think this tool called Bard is much easier. So Bard is a similar chat bot that has been created by Google. So if you want to just Google's chatbot Bard, it will give you this. I think that Google's Bard is better for research and prospecting. The reason is it's more up to date and it provides pictures and a little bit more information. I pre-populated a prompt here that I'm going to show. I did this already. For example, like I'm looking for a donor profile on Paul Tudor Jones, one of the most known philanthropists out there. I'm just using that as an example. And I want to build a donor profile. I hope everyone can see this at the bottom of my screen. Donor profile, Paul Tudor Jones. First section would be summary of his company, contact and phone number, social foundations. Second section, bio, clubs, boards, anything, education. Third section would be gifts is given, anything over $1 million. Put it in a chart. So 3 column A, name and board, year and amount. And fourth, any other nonprofit organizations. Finally, lists a section of sources that you use in the building of the profile. So I found that Bard's generally pretty good, kinda. It does, company info, address, blah, blah. Has some good information here. I'll be clear, they probably made most of this information up. Some of it could be spot on accurate, but you have to check. Like this is just pulling from publicly available information and it could all be wrong. What I do like about Google Bard is that you can export to a Google Doc immediately, which I don't know if you guys use Google Docs. You use them all the time, and you can just start editing from here. I like that about Google Bard. That's something that Chat GPT doesn't do, that Google Bard's actually pretty good with. I'll say though, Paul Tudor Jones is a well-known philanthropist and his giving information can be found on annual reports. It's pretty out there. If you try to go like deeper, like with a donor who's not as publicly known as Paul Tudor Jones, your information is going to be not nearly as good. So it doesn't really work with kind of like level 2, 3, or 4 type philanthropists. It obviously worked well here because, well, A, I tested it in advance, but B, because this is so well known. So there are definitely some limitations around it. However, I thought this would be a good example to share. Outside of that, what we generally use ChatGPT for, and we've discussed a lot here, but in terms of fundraising, it's a lot of writing. It's a lot of writing that you as a fundraiser, development officer, whatever it may be, will have to do, and it just makes it a little bit quicker and easier. So that's a little bit of a background on ChatGPT, a very brief intro into Bard. But as I kind of said from the beginning, we're also learning in real time and would love to chat with you all as a follow-up to anything that you're doing that we're not thinking about, and vice versa. If you want any further explanation of anything we talked about with ChatGPT, please do let us know. My email CJ Orr at Orr Group. Like, we find this fun and interesting and would love to continue the conversation.